Let's go through the course and exam description. I did this in my AP Summer Institutes, and I was asked to share on video some of the pages so that if people were gone for a certain topic, then they could catch up. So I'm going to go quickly through this, and you are free to pause the video at any time to write things down. So I'm going to go over here to topic 1. So what I do in topic 1 is I bought some doodle notes on TPT. I'm not going to always tell you when I have purchase notes. I'm not an artist, so I buy some things that people have made, but you don't need to buy anything. You have everything you need in my Google Drive for you. So again, you don't have to buy anything. I do the light in the deep sea lab here. It also covers 1.8, so you can choose to do it in either location. All right, going on to topic 1.2, I have created a chart with a PowerPoint, and in that, make sure you review the lines of latitude. With kids, it helps them understand our terrestrial biomes. They do not need longitude. Going on to aquatic biomes, again, I have a chart with a PowerPoint. There's also wetlands and estuary notes in there. Topic 1.4, I do diagram notes that I created that you have the answer key. Again, I do these with my students on a document camera. Carbon cycle is also part of eco columns. All of these, so topics 1.4 through 1.7 are all the different cycles, and they are all the diagram notes, all part of eco columns. Nothing, I've already told you what I do for these 3 through 1.7. Okay, so now here's primary productivity. Lab is one part of it. In fact, the very last essential knowledge statement, which is about red light, goes with the light in the deep sea lab. And then also there's a lab in AP Classroom called Lab 1. And this one is if you have a good supply of a water plant that's healthy during this unit, this is a good lab. You can also save time. I have it filmed on video if you prefer to save time. All of this stuff is in your Google Drive. Also, the best way to get to the links to these items is to use my sample planners. I have links in all my planners for all of these things. Trophic levels, I use diagram notes. There's also an L pellet lab that covers topics 1.9 through 1.11. So that ends Unit 1. So let's go on to Unit 2. Unit 2 has the most changes from the old course. In Unit 2, there are 2 labs in AP Classroom. I don't do those 2. Instead, I do one that I created that is similar called Counting Species. It uses a transect line and quadrats. For ecosystem services, nature for humans, and there are 4 types, and they can be difficult for kids. So plan to spend some time on this. Not a long time, but some practice time. You have resources in the folders. Okay, for this topic here, let me focus this for you. I do an island biogeography theory lab with beans and funnels, and then Google Earth. There is an alternate online lab that you could do in place of the real lab, but the kids have a good time with the real lab and it's cheap and easy. Then I also have some notes. I'm sorry this smeared with my ink, but I have notes about islands and biodiversity, and then also island biogeography theory that I created that you have. Ecological tolerance weaves through a lot of different topics in AP. It's also known as the range of tolerance. All right, so topic 2.5 is not covered well in our older textbooks. Use supplemental notes or AP daily videos. So before I got a new book, which is the Withcott 4th edition, that does cover this really well, but the older editions and other authors do not. So when I was using a different book, I would assign AP daily videos with some note sheets so the kids would get this content. Topic 2.6 on adaptations is really a review from biology class. It's kind of condensed natural selection. And then 2.7, there's some diagram doodle notes in the file. I think they're in the file. It's possible I purchased them. I don't remember. Just so you know, if you're not familiar, primary and secondary succession are completely separate processes, so just be aware of that. And then there's a resource about keystone species on HHMI called trophic cascades that are really good about sea otters. Going on to Unit 3. So for Unit 3, you have basic notes. You could purchase doodle notes again, but you have everything you need. You have PowerPoints, you have learning study guides. This is stuff the kids can kind of learn on their own. There's nothing particular that you need to go, like that they need a lot of instruction from you from. There is a bubble lab you can do for survivorship. These are the survivorship curves. I don't do the bubble lab. The kids blow bubbles with the bubble solution like that are for children, and they try and keep some alive and let some die. I don't do it just because of the lack of time. I've heard the data can be difficult, but a lot of people do have success and they like it. Okay, so I do a cemetery lab. Sorry, not yet. There's AP Classroom Lab 4 called Population Estimation with Mark and Recapture. I don't do this one. Again, time, not because it's bad, it's just time. I learned a modification this week from people that say don't mark the beans with markers, but every time they get one, instead of marking it with like a Sharpie, you can just change the color of the bean, and that usually is really a good way to not get marker all over everybody's fingers, etc., and save beans. Okay, topic 3.6 kind of starts populations for humans. So there is a cemetery lab in AP Classroom. I like my version best, and we went over how to do the cemetery lab. Also, there is in the file for age structure diagrams, there's a graph the kids make using United States data from like 2017. So they learn how to make, it's like a sideways bar graph. And after they make one, they know how to read them better. Okay, nothing particularly special until we get to human population dynamics. So 70 over R is years to double. I put here a little percentage, but you don't want, just to show you, it's kind of like a percentage, but we don't want to put a percentage as our formula because it's not correct. It's just 70 over R. R isn't a percentage, it's the growth rate, gives you years to double. In the file, you have population math, which will help kids practice the rule of 70 and growth rate. And then, oh, I have a sticky note that's blank. Nothing in particular. You can kind of go over this on the board or with students in class if you want, but they can learn it pretty well from PowerPoint notes. And that's it for Unit 3. Let's go into Unit 4. Okay, so I made lots and lots and lots of diagram notes because earth science stuff can be really hard for my kids. So I went through the time to make a whole bunch of diagram notes a few summers ago, and you have all of those with answer keys in the drive. So for topic 4.1, we have geology diagram notes with a map of notable sites for plate tectonics, including how the different plate tectonic stuff works. And then we have soil formation. I have soil diagram notes that we'll go through with 4.2 and 4.3. For 4.3, you have soil composition and properties. I recommend the soil in a jar lab. I also recommend the chemistry of soil lab. Sorry that my power is kind of smeared a little bit. So it's nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and pH. It is also in Lab 7 in AP Classroom. Basically, these two are 2/3 of the lab. I don't do the rest of Lab 7. Just for time, not because it's bad. For Earth's atmosphere, I made diagram notes for these sections. 4.6 is watersheds, and it's kind of stuck in the middle of all this stuff, and it has a little separate notes. It's good in this every once in a while. Every year in during this time they're learning this stuff, we do a Coriolis lab. Carolina Biological sells a kit. All you need to do is buy it once and you can use it year after year. It's a really good kit. And then Watersheds is a separate diagram notes. It's quick and easy. It doesn't take long. There is a fun activity with crumpled paper. I don't do this anymore. I used to, but I just cover this more quickly. But it's a really fun activity for kids. With Earth's radiation and seasons, still they have diagram notes, but demonstrations are really good here with a blow-up globe or a beach ball and a light, like a light bulb that represents the sun and showing how the Earth rotates around the sun and it's on a tilt to create our seasons. Here, again, this is part of diagram notes as well. And El Nino and La Nino, I have special notes with a video. So if you don't know El Nino and La Nina very well and you want to watch my video so that you can really teach it to the kids with colored pencils, I have special notes with the Pacific Basin map, and we draw warm water, cool water, upwelling, nutrients with different colors, and it helps the kids understand these three things. So we have the map 3 times and we draw what happens in these 3 things. Moving on to Unit 5. So topic 5.1, there's an AP Classroom Lab 9 called Sustainability. It also goes with 512, but it can be done here. I like to do it earlier than 512, but you could do it later. It's a great lab. It's a really, really good lab using cheap equipment, Fruit Loops and chopsticks and paper plates. Really fun. Forest doodle notes I bought. You don't have to buy any of that stuff. You can just do clear cutting on the study guides and with the PowerPoint. For the Green Revolution, there's a great lab that I do called Lab 8 Soil Compaction, where they smash down some soil and unsmashed soil. So you have 2 containers, one with unsmashed, one with smashed, to represent mechanization like tractors that compact the soil and smash it down. So nothing special for here. Irrigation methods, I made notes here, so you have those in the file. There's also the salt toxicity lab. Can be done here, but I prefer to do it in Unit 8. Going on, there's nothing special for any of this, just notes in the PowerPoints, reading in the book. Again, you don't have to do PowerPoint notes, you can have the kids read. Impacts of mining. There's a cookie mining lab that I showed you, at least for one of my APSIs, maybe not another, and the kids love it. It's super fun. They have a really good time. For cities' impacts of urbanization, I have a lab that we use the IR thermometer guns with. It's a really lovely experimental design lab. There's also some doodle notes that I bought, but you don't need to buy those. You can, again, cover it in different ways. For ecological footprint, there's a human footprint online calculator that is really great for kids to see their ecological footprints. And then the sustainability lab can go here instead of 5.1 if you want. Either place is fine. Then I also give them green building design notes here. You have it in your file with an answer key. I also cover this green building design will help cover things in 5, will help cover things in 6. And then nothing there until we get to sustainable agriculture. I buy doodle notes. You don't have to. You have it other ways. You can watch The Biggest Little Farm here. You have a City Farm online game. I like this TED Talk on guerrilla gardening in South Central Los Angeles. All those are really great things. The kids are very interested. They have a good time with the City Farm. They love that movie. I don't do anything special for aquaculture, but you could if you wanted to. Sustainable forestry, you could buy notes or not, or just have them read it. If you want fire ecology, it's right here. And that's it for Unit 5. I will do the other units on a separate video.